Hi, good morning, guys. Hopefully, you can hear me.
And Jit, you're audible.
Yeah. Today's four people will join. Let's start with another. But so if you remember from the past days plan of action, what I was seeing for today was to start off with backend. And I remember the previous day we were like putting out, we are trying to code a app which was a manual version, a manual kind of an app for which we have made the APIs. And the part that I left was database. So you are about- okay. So I want to quickly do that out before we proceed any further. So I can do it something like this. Okay, initializing database. Those are the things that I need to do. Okay, so let's do something like this, where I do add the skill alchemy um, within my server, and in here I'm just declaring out a model which is named as test, and it has three columns. One is the primary key, another two are name and number. Right now, the thing is that what I want to do is, if you remember from the problem statement, we had said that you cannot use the GUI interface to create the design the database, right? So either you have to use the SQLite terminal, or then like you go from like write down the models and that propagate into the database file, right? Choosing the way where you have to write it for once, that is, if we write down the models and we are done. If we are going for that terminal, that is also fine. Just that I have to write it twice. If you have to, whenever you are using the terminal, you have to basically you have to write down the stuff so that it could be generated. And then again, you have to write down the model so that it could be connected to the connected to connected to a Flash server, right? Now, if that is done, and I said that I will be using that models to create the database file, so how can I do it? It's like db dot create all. So db is the method where like db is the variable where I have initialized the SQL alchemy method, right? Now again, I have the method that is db dot create all, and that will just go ahead and check if the database file is there or not. If it is there, it will check the tables are there or not. If the tables are there, like it doesn't go like that. So It will check if the data file is there or not. Then it will check if the table is there or not. If the table is not there, then only it will proceed and create a table and the columns. So what am I saying is that, for example, right now the table in action is what? Like the table in question is this test table, right? Now thing is that uh, you have to call this db create dollar method within app context, right? You have to pass it through this, or else you can like do something like call that method over here. Create all. Now, if I restart it, you can see as of now I don't have anything as an instance directory. And as per the default format, you know that the database file, as per this last default location, it would be created in an instance directory, right? Now the thing is that you can see that program just running the Python file, right? Now the location is found. So I run the Python file now. You can see the instance directory was created, and if I open that up, so the database file is there, right? And through the database file, I can verify that yes, the table was created and it has three columns. Another thing is that I'm trying to say is, for example, I have made this test table, right? Now, for example, I need to have one more column. That could be possible, right? But what is happening if I restart it? See, it got restarted. Previously, whenever it got restarted, it created that database file. I think the database file was not there, so it got created. Now the table was created, right? The thing is that I have modified the table, but it won't be applied to the database file. That is because the table is already present. Now the thing is that what if I create a different file, different table, uh, plus test one, should ID. If I consider this and restart it, now what will happen or what is expected? If you consider that, it might say that yes, the test table and the database was created for the first time. Now it may or may not work. But what will happen is if you have a newer call, like newer table in the model, it will be added. If I restart it again and see that the next table was also created. So what is happening is that if you have a newer table, then the change will be implemented in the database file. Else, if you already have a table and if you want to change, apply some changes, then it won't be applied directly with db.create all. Can somebody confirm if my voice is audible and it's not breaking?
Yeah, we can hear you. It's slightly low, but it's audible.
Okay. Check. Okay. This is what I was talking about the database. Next thing would be having two endpoints. Those could be something like thought route, save shape, data post, right? So what am I doing over here is that let's see. Basically, that is what I. Okay. So accordingly, I'm going to go ahead and make two files. So not device. My bad. So what am I doing? Just give me a moment. I will be able to explain what. So I have two empty HTML files, right? And made two new endpoints. If you are aware, what am I trying to do? That is basically I just want to see all whatever data that we have on a page that is through our slash query data wala endpoint and through the save data wala endpoint. And I'll be seeing what? I'll be seeing a form, and that form will be getting some data from the client, and it will be sending back to the data backend server, and backend server will be saving it to the database. Right? That is what the simple implementation is. Right? Nothing much. So let's do the save data wala HTML first. So what you want to see? What I want to see is firstly what I have to like what the function is. So saving data in the DB. Okay. H1 tag. Then what we want is a form. Now I want you guys to tell me something. Let's do this. Tell me one thing. Most probably, most of you have done. I would say most probably, but you have done that's done advanced. That's why you were here. So it is. I won't think that you may have used, but you should have used form in your project, right? Tell me one thing. I'm just opening up the HTML file over there on this side, and I last server over here. Considering you guys were following and paying attention, just tell me something. If not, still go through the code and tell me something that I have to add to this form, and I haven't added that. That could be anything. What do you say? Let's see. Guys, let's interact. In the past 15 minutes, I'm just talking. I just want you guys to, yes, interact and tell me that, yes, you are also here with me. There is no worries, no shame if you answer something wrong, that's fine.
I'm doing them add one project in parallel, but I think there should be some connection between this file and that, right? That you have to add.
Right, right.
I'm just not sure what that is, but I'm thinking
If
there's
you are doing your Mad One project this time, so you're not like
yeah, I'm
you
doing
need
both in
some time
parallel.
here.
Yeah.
Apart from other guys, there is Neha, there is, I guess, if I'm taking your name correctly, Sam, and this is Brilliance. That's it. Guys, see, as I was saying the other day, please do not consider this to be an instructor-led session where the instructor is coming and covering up the topics and teaching you. I'm not here to teach you anything. Rather, I am here to guide you so that you know all the concepts, whatever concepts that you know. I'm just doing some kind of a refresher as appear so that you can re-memorize it or something and like implement this. So you have to talk to me, else there won't be any means to this. We'll wait for the next 20 seconds and see. Okay. Now it's going to speak. That's fine. So Somerset, if you're doing your marathon project like this time only, right? So
Right.
there's a small suggestion. Complete it as early as you could. Like if
Okay.
you are free this weekend, considering quiz one is in the next weekend, it's like today's Friday, right? It's possible that you could finish off your marathon project by 2 days. So I would like that's a suggestion. If you have time, finish off by Sunday because you'll be needing more time for that, and that is for sure, right?
Is Mad
Uh,
One project much easier than Mad Two? Is what you're saying?
yes, much easier, much easier. Mad one won't be take so long.
Okay.
I can promise you that. Yeah,
Okay. I'll try doing that. Thanks.
yeah, yes. And the thing that we are missing over here is you're correct. I need to make a connection, right? So if you see in the save data endpoint, what are we doing? We are declaring two methods, right? One is get, another one is post. So whenever I'm doing get, and it's a manual project, so it would render me a template.
Right. And you need to add something in the HTML file, right, for that.
Right. No, no, the get part is okay. Like I can once. Huh. So the thing is that the get part is done. Like I can render out the template, I can see it on my screen. But the next thing is that HTML needs to send some data, right? And for that, we are using a different method that is post. So from the backend side, I'm done. I'm okay. That I will be getting a form data, like basically an HTML form data. And through that, I can query out the name and number and finally store it in the database. Now, the thing is that there is the part that is left is from the HTML side. That is, I have the form. I will be seeing in that on the screen. So whenever I click on the submit button, it will be generating me a post request because I have set the method to be post. That is over here. But where would it send the data? I have to define or I have to specify the endpoint. That is what I was expecting someone to say. Right? That is, send the post request over here in the same endpoint. Right? You can choose a different endpoint, but I kept it in the same endpoint where whatever endpoint is like returning up to 10. Nothing much. Finally, whenever the data is being saved, it would try ahead and go out to query data or endpoint so that I can see a different page. I'll do something like uh, try to save the data. If the data is saved, then I would redirect. Else, I can show something like roll back an error occurred. Something like that. That's fine. So that is to how to save the data. Right. Next thing, how to query the data. So whenever the data is being queried, you can see the total table is being queried and saved into a data well, like variable. And what am I doing? Whenever I'm just rendering on the template, I'm supplying the total data. Total data as in whatever or how like n number of rows could be there in the table, right? I'm just without formatting it or doing anything. I'm just sending out the data to the HTML, right? Or broadcasting for the HTML. So now the HTML has to capture it, and I just want to see it in a, let's do something like a table format, right? And with this, I can say, I can promise that most of the part will be there, right? Most of the part is in the basic parts that you have to do in a Mac one project. I would say all the things, but the majority, that is the things I am talking about. So I can do something like data in DB, right? In here, what I want to do is a table format. Table, uh, table head, table head, ch. Right? So let's start with ID. What columns do I need? Right. Name and number. Right. Next thing in the table body, what do I need? That is the body, and yes, there is a for loop, right? So I have multiple rows in it, in a variable. Now for each row, I am wanting, like, each row of data, each row as in the database row. I want a row in this table so that it could be shown in this table format, right? Getting my point. So I need to run a loop, for loop. So in the front end side, I can use Jinja to for. Next thing, I could do something like a if statement, right? If I have anything in the variable, then I would be showing that, else no data available. And if I can do something like that. It's- So firstly, I am checking if the data is there. If the data or a variable is having anything in it, then I would show something. Else, I would show that no data is available. I can give it out a link to, that is something like a anchor tag, and that would redirect me to where? That is save data, add some, add data. Let's see how this works. Restarting the app. Now, if I open it up somewhere, okay, I'm sharing your window. So in here, what I want to do is localhost no, query data, query data. So do I get this? Basically, I'm just querying out the page, right? So this is what we will be seeing. See, as of now, it is having no data, so it's showing what? No data available and add data, right? Let's do something else. Let's change whatever I'm showing. I just don't want to do it over here in the postmark. So local post 4000 has query data. I just want to see this page. In here, I don't have data. And the data variable is empty as of now. We can check that out from here too. On the database, basically. It's empty, right? Test table is empty. So the data variable will be empty as querying it out, querying the same table out, but table doesn't have any data. So that's why I'm seeing this because of the if statement. Right? You write this statement correctly? Yeah. Okay. Now if I click here, I'll be seeing this page. That is to save data. In here, let's start with something like check my name. One. Again, this is not correct. Please follow it. saved it. Now, what did it do? Whenever I clicked save, I got a post request back, took the number and name from the request out and saved it into the database file. After saving it, I redirected it to query data. Okay, this page, right, and see how the data flow happened. That is, firstly, I opened the query data page, I refreshed it again, then I clicked on the link that is add data. So it redirected me to save data wala page. Then from the save data wala page, I added some data and clicked on the submit button. Right. Whenever it happened, I got a post request to save data wala endpoint, and that happened. And I got 302. 302 is redirection. Okay. And I got redirected again to query data. That is the flow. Right? In query data, I can have something like data. I can have one more thing just for the sake of looking good. Okay. So this is what we'll see. What if I add one more? So this safe. You can see two entries are there. Okay. I can do multiple more things, delete and stuff. Okay, I can do delete, but let's do delete and update for a quick uh, spin so that I will be modifying this into my like whatever concepts are I'm covering. So it's like I've got route class update data. Now the thing is that to update a field, what do you need? I need the ID. Basically, previously whenever I was adding a data, it's a new entry. So it will be added to the database. But if I want to update a older entry, so what I have to do is I have to get the primary key so that I can query out the database, and on that I can update it. Okay, so where also? Yeah, I need to get the ID so that I can query the database and get that so that I can update it. This one, also, the motion console is not still. No, what is Okay. Mm, in here. So I somehow have to pass the ID, right? I can pass it to the path variable. If you remember from the path variable or the thing, I can use that format. Else, what can I do is something like it would be an easier option. Why? That is because I can do something like so using that format and the- in here I am doing a query to the database through the ID. ID was first. And if that is then what am I saying? Rather, let's not use update data, but I can reuse save data wala HTML. That is possible. Right? And in post, what am I doing? I'm just getting in. Achha, in here, let me do something like data got name. If something is not saved, then I'm just reusing the old thing. Even if I do not supply it in this format, still it would be uh, considered, but just for the sake of supplying it out. Okay, so that is update data, right? Let's see how can I do it. So in the date save data part, you can do something like uh, it's easy to go ahead. I just do not have to do any more. Rather, in here, what can I do is uh, what attributes do I have? Okay. So, that's one second. What the placeholder? The placeholder could be at let's no, that's not placeholder. Wait, why do that's it? So you check. Mhm. What attributes? Value. So what am I saying? In the value part, I will be getting data dot name. If data else empty. Right? The same thing is what there's two. Is that it's now let's see what's up. What am I trying to do? In here, the same idea is also included. So, this runs safety. If data else, oh sorry, it's updated. It's safety. So what am I doing? Firstly, I'm reusing that template, right? So whenever you are doing it in Mattu, it's like you can like use a component and stuff. But in here, I have to do a quick way around it. That is, I need to get it done, and it's like whenever I'm sending a post request, it should send the post request respectively. Respectively, as in if I am sending it to the save data, then it's fine. I can add a newer entry. But whenever I am updating the data, that need to go to the different endpoint, that is update data. Okay. So in here, I'm taking the help of Jinja. Most probably it would work for me. If not, I can have a check. Right. I can give it a try over here. Most probably it would work. So what am I saying? If this whenever this template, like, forget about the endpoints, whenever this template is trying to run itself, it would check if it is getting, like, if a data variable is broadcasted or not. If it is broadcasted, then it will go to update variable. Else it will go to save variable, save data on the endpoint. Once.
So is the idea that from the same template we can both update as well as save the data? That's why we are doing this.
Yes, yes. I'm just reusing it.
Okay.
Just one second. Hold on. Okay. So yes, I'm just using the data. Again, one more thing, the same idea is implemented over here. The field will be like the data fields will be filled with the data if, again, the data variable is broadcasted. If not, it will be empty. It's like whenever I'm updating, I already have the data. So I'm just focusing it in the fields. If it is saving the data, I'm just like it would be empty fields, right? Let's see if the idea is good to go. So, there is one more thing that is left. In the query wala part, I need to send it. Like, so what is happening in this endpoint? I need to go to this endpoint. Do I want to do it as a manual thing? No, right? I just want to have a click and I just want to go to this page. So that can be done from here in this page. I can have one more call that could be something like th action. In here, what I want to do is have a button, right? Firstly, delete data, and delete data will be what? Sorry, update data will be redirected to which place? That is slash update data, then slash the IT. So I'm doing the same thing. Whenever the page is getting rendered, so it will be like the endpoint will be set as slash update slash one for this entry and two for the other entry. Okay. Let's see. Saving this and refreshing it out. Let's see. I can get a edit button. If I click on this, see how will be the address changing. See, it got update slash one. In this one, it got update slash two. And the fields are also filled. Right. If I click over here, you can see it's empty. Even I can change this to this form. Uh, Nothing much, but yeah. So I have that. So saving a data in the data table in the DB, the repository, it's updating the data in retrieve the data. Okay. And let's do. So change it. I said new, save it. Okay. It didn't go. Okay. So the action is not for yeah. That's the thing. Let's see. Let's do a quick inspect. Go to elements from update data. Yeah, update data is there. So it's happening. But I guess something is not working. Oh, okay, okay, okay. So update data needs an ID all the time, right? Okay, I can do that, but I'm thinking some for something else. Ah, let's not. Let's do it for something else. Okay, I'm just updating it. Let's see if this works. It would work. Just it's not. Ah, no. It's, plus that. G was not working. What it would be? Yeah, plus format would be. Some methods is equal to initial question define update. Is it creating an issue? No, 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 no. That's not creating an issue. So the problem is that if you see in here, the update endpoint, it requires like whenever I'm sending a request, so it requires what update data slash ID, right? That should be the endpoint. But whenever I am sending it, it's like going to slash update previously. I can do a fix with something, but the thing is that I can give it a try once. Let's see, taking off something else. Let's see. Let's see. Let's give it a try. Something more. Let's give it a try. Uh, so, no, what's this? Mention one. Yeah, that's the thing. That is what I was expecting. This field. Okay. Yeah, I can do a way around. That's it will take me some time. So it's done. Nothing much. So query data and edit. Now save and it's done. So what did I do? I just changed the format, the form starting tag as per the conditions. So go through it, try it once, and it'll be done. And in a similar format, it could be the delete part too. For example, delete. It's nothing. If that is a delete method, then I just need a get request. Let's keep it simple. If there is a get and I'm trying to delete it, if it's okay, that's fine. Else, it will just show me an error. Right? Let's give it a try. Okay. Refresh it. Let's delete it, and it's gone. Hmm. This is how we'll be doing it. Now, the thing is that let's not waste any more time. It's already 10, 50 minutes, and I'll close everything down. Copy day zero, as I was saying the previous day, that I won't be changing it, but the part was left. That's why I changed it today. In day one, what I want to do, I want to change it into a day two format. It's a day one format, right? So firstly, just locate my terminal correctly. It's it out. CD2 day one. It'll be changing on day one, right? In here, I have the same thing, same app and stuff. Everything is there. Now, in here, I do not need the template directory because in Mat2, your app won't be like your backend server won't be running or rendering out any template, right? So I don't need templates. I need the instance directory. I have the database in here. I need the app.py because I'm going to modify it, right? Now, what are the changes that you want? Firstly, listing those down. It won't be rendering the templates as I said. So there won't be any get request which will be using this method, that is render template. Even redirect may or may not, you may or may not use redirect. URL for you can use, but this is what will be out. This is how we'll be proceeding, right? Now, tell me one thing. I'm not considering that yes, you have started your Matthew project, working on a Matthew project, but tell me this thing. If you have gone through your Matthew course, then you may have the idea of an API, right? Tell me this. Whatever endpoint that I have selected right now, Is it in a API format? Is it in a correct format where which is needed for your bank project? What do you say? Considering you have seen it, I just need to know. Guys, hello. Is it in a correct format? Can I proceed with this one? Is it a valid thing? Again, considering as you say, see, that's a correct format. And over here, what you are doing, your API should be in a RESTful format, right? So it won't be rendering out any template, but it would be transacting you with data, and we are supplying data. And you may say that, like, is it valid? Yes, I would say yes. Why not? Because that's I'm just returning a string. I'm returning a data. Could be in any format. No? Yes, yes. So that's a yes. Yes, that's a correct format. That is what I'm saying. That yes, it is in a RESTful format. It is not rendering out any template, so it's fine. I'm supplying data, and that could be in any format. Be it in a JSON format, be it in XML format, be it in file. Like if I am sending out a binary file, that is also so. Oh, okay. Anyhow possible. It's just you need to interact with the data, and that is happening. So this is in a correct format. About is not. So let's just go ahead and remove about. This one too. This one can stay. This one can stay. Let's change it out. How can I change? I won't be rendering out the template, so let's remove it. And same goes for the HTML. Like rather, what I want to do is I want to return back the name. So for that, we'll be following a standardized format that is JSON. It's nothing like to strictly follow it, but yes, you can follow that. If you want, you can use XML, you can use any other data structure, that is fine. Just that it be using JSON. Okay. I mean JSON is almost like a dictionary object, Python dictionary object. Even however or wherever you will be like for creating that, you just need to use that key value paired format. Right? That's next one. Right? In here, what I want to do is name and this. So this is the key and the value is over here. Save it and let's give it a try. It don't work because I have multiple render templates. I comment everything down so that at least I can run the app. Okay, it's running. So I have two endpoints. One is the index endpoint that is returning a string. That's fine. Another one is about, and if I write a name over here, for example, my name. Okay, that's weird. Oh, sorry, that's about one. Sorry, let's change it to about. I do have about one. I don't have about now. So refresh, and this is what I'm seeing back or I'm getting back. So whatever path variable that you are supplying, it will be added into a JSON format with the key as name, and it will be supplied back to you. Right? That is what is expected. Anything. Right? Now, those are the two endpoints, right? Next thing is the other part, query. In query, what do you want? Or else, let me do something more. What else? Oh, we are doing it from the browser, right? I will shift my focus into a different client, that is Postman. If you have gone through the theory documentation, they were using Insomnia. It's the same thing. You can get the Postman extension. If you have the PS Code support extension, you can get that extension and save it. Like use it, install it over here. It will make your life easier, nothing else. In here, what you want to do is localhost 5000 slash. Let's do a get request. And it's not working because the server is not running. Send. That is it, right? And then for about and ID. So this is what I'm seeing. Now, the next thing is that at least for till day three, or for this, at least until unless I am having a full-fledged content server, I'm considering like I'll be keeping both the ends backend and front end separately, right? So consider this. Whenever till the point I have a full-fledged front end, before that I will be building the backend, right? And we'll be validating multiple stuff. So I need something to validate. So I would consider Postman to be the front end till that point. That's something you should like, saying it twice. So we consider Postman to a front end, or basically the client. Why? That is because I can do whatever that is expected from the front end. That is, for example, generating a get request. Get request can be done from the browser, but there are multiple other things. At least whenever you are building the APIs, that needs multiple other stuff too. That is, for example, you want to send a post request. That is not very easily possible with the browser, with a normal browser. Normal browser is in a query with sending a query with the normal browser. So whenever you are using the address bar, it is sending what? Sending a get request. So there are multiple other requests, post, put, delete. We have to verify those. So that Postman helps us. And we will be implementing token-based authentication for that too. It will be helping us. Even if you are going for session-based, still it will be helping us. See, that is why we can do Postman and this API. Okay. Now, the thing is that even to even when we are doing a post request, we need to send the data, right? So in that case too, we'll be getting a help from Postman. So in here, in query data, what I want to, I do not want to render template now. So the stuff are gone. Rather, what I want is I want to send the data. Here's the you can send it in this format, but rather what I would prefer is to at least have it like instead of sending it as a like whatever uh, in whatever format I'm getting it from the browser in the browser query, rather sending it in that format, I want to restructure it and send it so that I can like divide the work for both the ends. Like restructuring is done in the front end, back end. So there is somewhat it's like in a standardized format and it can be used in the front end. So how can I do it? Or what am I saying basically? If you see, if you remember, previously I had two entries in my database, right? So two rows. So for that, what am I saying? For each row, I'll be creating a smaller JSON object. So it is something like what I have in here is I have a row. For example, if I add one, so, once, so I have two rows as of now. And what I want to do is I want each row to be in a JSON format. So a JSON object will be having three keys: ID, name, number. And for this data table, it will be having two JSON objects. So what I want to do is in the return statement, I want something like this. Let's do it in this format. It will be easier. Um, DVD, and that's an empty list. Next thing, what am I saying? For each item in data, I'll be using a for loop and I'll be appending something to DB data wala list. That is a JSON object. See, that's a JSON object, right? I'm appending it to the DB data wala variable. And let's see, for example, what will it be? Uh, Print list. Let's do a query. We'll be seeing that in the terminal. Query data. So that's the list. Right? Uh, I have two JSON objects. So what I want is I'd be sending back in a JSON data format. For example, I have a message data fetched successfully, and with this key, that is data key, I will be sending out the list. This is how it works. And it could be something like on data, I'm sending no data was found. Save it. And let's give it a try. So if I send it, so fine, so it's not working. If I send the request, I'll be getting that in this format. That is, I have if a JSON object. In that, I have two keys. One is data, another one is a message that says data fetched successfully. With the key, I have a list, and that list is having two JSON objects for, for one JSON object for each row. Right. Next thing, that is how we'll be doing query data. Right. Next thing is save data. Okay. For save data, I won't be needing a template anymore now, right? Because we'll be like interacting with, have to make it in that format. So it's very easy. What am I doing? I'm just using it in a post method, right? Just running it in a post method. I do not have to do a check. In that case, I am allowing only a single method for this endpoint, right? And what am I saying? Previously, I was expecting a HTML form data, right? Or in a form data format. Whatever data that I supply, it should be in a form data format. That is also possible from Postman if you want. Like HTML was applying me out to the template. Right now, I am having Postman, so I do not need that. Okay, even I can do it from there, from here. So it's something like, if you see, this is the request part, okay, and this is the response part. From the request part, I have added the uh, address to save data, and I'm sending a post request. Sorry, it's a post. And if you see, there is multiple things, parameters, authorization, parameters as in a URL parameter and stuff. I'm not going into that. Authorization, I'm not going. Header, still I skip for today. And there is body. Okay, I'll go in body. And if you see, there is form data, right? So add the keys as in the names. If you see, if you remember the input fields, those are having names. Okay, that is what you have to write. So, for example, if I write name and number over here, and let's give it a try. For example, who was that? Person is Samaj and some number. Now, if I send it, will it work? What do you say? Sending a post request, the HTML, what was HTML facilitating with me, that is done by Postman, and I expect that it should be added, right? Let's see. Send. You can see it did print out something, and that is basically what I'm getting a response back, and that is this format in this format. So, what did I get? I get a response that like it got redirected, but if you see, the entry was added in the database. Okay. Right now, I do not need that. Rather, I need something else in a return. That is a JSON object again that says message that says me a message that data saved successfully and what was the data, and I can give it a give the ID to I can show the ID to it's like ID and data. It's new data dot ID this format. For example, the other person could be now save data, save the name, send. And see what was the response. I didn't get a response because the server was coming. Let's give it a try again. Send. And this is the response that yes, the next field was again added. This is how we'll be doing. But just for the sake of keeping it in a standardized format, like this is possible, this is doable. It is up to you. Your app, your policy, how you want to supply data is up to you. You can use a form data for an endpoint, you can use an XML, you can use a JSON, but to keep it in a standardized format, it is best. Till like again, you are not required that everything would be in a JSON format. That is not what am I trying to convey. Rather, what am I trying to say is that till what point you can keep it in a standardized format, keep it. Whenever you require a change, that is possible, that is accepted, you just change it. No worries to that. Now, I can give it an example. For example, in a form data, you can add a binary file and send it back. Okay, but in a JSON object, can you? Is it not? It is not possible, right? If you are going with a JSON object, then you need to find a way how to facilitate that. But as of now, like forget it. But yeah, that's a valid point. Okay. But if I want to set it up in a JSON format, so what do I have to change? At least in the part of post, nothing much. Come to line 46. Over here, there is form. Just write it JSON. Like change it to JSON, and it's done. In here, something more is needed. For example, I was following this format, right? Now it gets changed. I would be staying in body only, but go over here in raw and change it to JSON. Start writing, it would facilitate you, like help you. Next thing, what do I need? I need a name. Should be in this format. Name. Again, name is in string. So what you have to do? Did I do anything? What the number is also in string. That's fine. That's fine. So this is another name. So it's a name. And that is number. Acha, in general, in JSON format, number is not moving quotes. So like, let's keep it outside. Now What I want is I just want to send it. Let's see. It passed through. It gave me 201. And if you see, data was successful. This is how we do. Next thing. Um, so that is save data. Update. Update works in a similar format, just that you do not have to do any more change. Rather, what can you do is something like a small change, not a huge change, but yeah, mind it. Hmm. What's up? Okay, okay. I'm saying it on this. Nice done. Getting my point. What am I doing? So it's update, update data slash one. It still is in a post request and changing it. So yeah. See what do I have in the database? So it feeds and I'm changing the entry one. Let's see. Please don't delete. Send and it's done. The change did happen. See now again it was redirected to query data and other I want something else. Data updated successfully and here's the data. That's update and same goes for delete. Nothing else is needed. So this is how we'll be changing what goes up. Next thing that I want to go is I have another table, right? So that is test one. Now that I have everything, I have a query wala required, I have a data addition wala required, updates and all that. Okay, I have all four. Like I have all the CRUD operations. That is what I am trying to do here. Next thing is let's it's in a different endpoint for each. Let's do something else. Okay. Source data, update data, and delete data, right? Four endpoints for this table. Now, for this table, let's not do it. Let's do something else. That could be a single endpoint will be facilitating me with everything. Okay. At least two. Two endpoints will be getting myself done with whatever that I need for test one. All the CRUD operations, all kind of CRUD operations, at least the simple ones, right? So that is five things that I want to do. One is post, that is adding a new data. Second one is put. Third one is delete. And the fourth one will be get, right? So why am I saying five? Did I do an mistake? I would say no. Because it depends either gets in the get statement. You may want something like I can do it through a single get, but it would be computationally heavy. That is what am I trying to say is that consider the scenario. In this update wala, uh, if you remember in that update wala team, what was I doing? I think of a scenario, right? There could be a situation where I need a single kind, like I need a single entry for that from the database, right? So for that, I can have a different get request, right? Where it will be having that ID, and through that ID, I can query a single row, rather compiling it up, like querying the total database, that is one way, like total database table, then reformatting it in a structured way, then sending it back to the front end. Front end will again do a like conditioning, and it would find me a single entry. While doing all this, I can have a different get request, right? At the like in, over there, which would vary a single row, and that could be beneficial multiple times, right? Computationally, it will help you. So that is why I'm saying there would be two get requests: one post, one put, and one delete for the thread office. That is what I have seen by personal experience, and it can depend, but that is what I prefer to do, right? And that's a suggestion that I want to make too. So test one. Okay, in this test one while the endpoint, what will I be doing? I'll be allowing post and get. Now you must say why. That is, I am not passing any ID in this endpoint. Okay. So where do I do not need an ID to add a data field and to vary out the total data, right? So test one route. So if there is a post request, then I'm getting the data and checking if the name is there or not. If not, I would respond with something else. If not name, that name is required. Then I try to add it to the database and finally respond back. Same goes for let it be in a smaller format. Like I can do else, but that's for the sake of visibility. So I need to get in here. I'm just querying out the total database and reformatting it in a list and sending it back. Right, over here. Next thing, I've thought route, and this one accepts the ID. In here, I am going to put, get, and delete. For those three, I need, like, at least for put and delete, I need the ID, right? Else I cannot do. And the next thing is the get, where I'll be querying a single row. This is what I'm trying to do. In here, firstly, I'm querying out the table. Querying out the table. Even I don't need a check because yeah, I can do multiple validations. See, again, one more thing that I have said. For each endpoint, there could be multiple n number of validations that you have to like. You should add at least for the industry standards. So you can go through it and you can add it in multiple ways, just for the security purposes. But at, for the least thing, I'm worried about security right now. Okay. Input to having those and in delete. Okay. Yeah, that's done. Okay. So two endpoints will be facilitating me with multiple jobs. Let's do it. Restart the app. So that is test one. Test one. If I send a post request, I just okay. One more thing. Whatever JSON object it could be, like I'm sending the name and number, so two keys. But what I need is the name wala key, and that is fine. This is good to go. Okay, send it. You can see what will be the response. That is CL name is required. So that is not accepted. So what will I do is CL name, and I will just add the name over here. The other two will be ignored. You can send it, you can stick with, but it will be ignored. Send, you can see it's giving me 201. So it was added. Now let's add some more. Okay, what's in there? And what was the other person? Yes. So most probably I have 6 entries in my database. Just one. You can see I have 6 entries. So I have good amount of data. Then if I am doing get, what do I expect? See, send a request, and this is what the response is. In the data, I have six JSON objects. Right? The message that says data for successful. That is fine. Now, what if I want to do a get? Like I am just adding the ID. See, it didn't work. It didn't work. Achha, it is working. Basically, it didn't show it over. So some of the times Postman also does. So let's keep it in drop. The much more visible. See, it is working for each. Okay. The last one, okay. In the seventh one, it should give you something data not found. Okay, that is how it works. And that's okay. For example, I'm doing an update. So what do I need? I just need to say the name. Okay. So let's say it to send. Should be added over even if you responded back. So it was responded back. And if I refresh it, it's up. Okay. If I want to delete it, I just change it, nothing in here, and we'll send it. See, it was deleted and it's gone. So this is how it would. Next thing. Okay. Do you have anything to ask right now? I didn't do that for very long.
Nothing as of now, Anjit. So are we finishing the correct part of it today, and then we'll move on to the next things in the next sessions?
No, I will be adding something more for today.
Okay.
Because I have time, like 20 more minutes or something. So 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's for 15 minutes. I would restructure my app for a bit and then I'd be adding something more. But nothing much. Okay. So as of now, what did I do? I added the endpoints. And there is the table, there's the database, and some configurations. Okay. So till this point, it's fine. But I want to do some restructuring so that it looks like it's in a proper structure. I prefer to keep it in that format. Okay. So first thing, config.py, and there is one more file that is models.py. So what did I do? As of now, at least for the macro projects, you just need one or two configurations on your tab. So whenever you are going from add to, it would be a long list. So I'll be shifting this configuration to my config.py file. Right. And the same thing goes for this model stuff. I won't be keeping those here. Shift it in models.py. Okay. Now for this thing to happen, I need from class SQL Alchemy. I need SQL Alchemy method, and I pass the app instance later on. Something like from models import what DB test and test one. The tables and the database instance. After the app, after we're done with the app integration, I'm just going for DB initialization, DB dot init. There is something more. I need to pass the configuration, right? So for that, what would I do? See, as of now, the database wala part or model wala part is done. What did I do? Just shifted it over there. The next thing that I need is I will be giving out the or passing the app instance from here because I don't have that. Even I could have imported it and passed it, but why to? Because I already have to do it in here. So I can like do it in here as in like I have to like I anyways I have to get the TV over here, so I can do it from here only. That is fine. Okay, I'm passing the app instance and it's the same thing. Okay, no change to it. But for the configuration, what did I do? Configuration needs to stay like it can be in a like how you are writing the configuration stuff. It could be in a number of ways, right? Over here, what am I doing? I'm just removing this part and it's done. Okay. Now, uh, if you want to keep it in this format, what you have to do is import the total file, import config, and in here on line 9, line 5, that is after app declaration or at least class initialization. Next thing, what would I do is app.config dot, there could be multiple other things like py file and all, but I prefer to keep it as from object. Okay, it can be handled like that single attribute, single method which handle multiple things. So I'm passing the configuration because I have imported it. Right? Now, if I restart it, you will see there is no error as of. It's the same thing. Okay. So, for example, instead of importing it in that format, I could like structure it something like class def config and keeping it in here. And there is something this debug and I would remove debug from the restart it and it will work in the same format. Okay. Ah, it is not working because I'm importing dev config from config wala file and I'm passing dev config. It's done, restart it, and it would work in the same way. Right? Some restructuring. Even something more that I want to do. That is, if you see, what am I doing? Whenever the first time I'm running this site, what it is doing, this is going ahead and first importing it, initializing the stuff, and on line 7 and 8, every time it is going ahead and checking if the database is there, if the database is there, if all the tables are there, if the tables are in correct format. That is being done every time. But do I need that? What do you say? So much. Like, what do you think? Do I need that? No, right? Because doing the same check in it's an redundant thing.
It looks like a redundancy.
Yes, that is why. Like, whenever we are visualizing our app for the first time, it could be something like the server gets restarted multiple times. But do I need to check every time that yes, I have the database or not? It can be a like if there are multiple other ways to do the check and put in a check. But as of now, it's at least for the scale of the the condition right now. I can say something like like whenever I initialize the app for the first time, I'm expecting that I have the database beforehand. I do not want to check that. So I will have something like a new file that is tv underscore edit dot py. And what would I do? I will just shift this two lines over. Nothing else. So in here, what I want to do is set this to. So from models, delete tv from app, app instance. And this is done. So how would it do? Or how would it work? That is, whenever you want to create the database, right? What you would like to do is instead of running Python app.py, what you want to do, you write Python db underscore alien.py. If you run this, it will just go ahead and create the database for you. Now there is something more. Uh, no, nothing. At least for whatever that we are doing, this is good to go. I've done some restructuring, shifted some code to a different file as per my need, and this looks good. I could do something more with that. I could shift the routes to a different file, but that's a thing for the next day. In here today, right now, I have 10 more minutes, I want to do something more. That is, it will take some time. Um, okay, I can discuss some. For DB in it, I want to add something more. This, if you remember what I have, there is something more that I will be using or that I will be adding to debate it. It will be won't be this small. That is, if you remember from the problem statement, is it has asked you that the admin credentials or the admin users would be added automatically. We're not like whenever the database is initializing or you're starting your app for the first time, you'd be like adding the admin user, uh, admin user automatically. Like you'll be registering string that was registering that user. It will be done from right? Whenever the database is getting initialized, at the same time we'll be adding the admin user. Even there is something more before adding the admin user. That is synchronous condition. This is an multi-user app, right? So there are multiple roles. Sorry, multi-role app. Okay. So you have to take care of the roles so that you can like restrict your app, restrict your app present. Consider this scenario. If you have seen the live sessions and somehow or at some time, if the instructor was sharing the screen or the uh, teaching assistant was sharing the screen, they might be using a different uh, dashboard, different, I would say different dashboard, but the dashboard could mm, seemingly could be different. Okay, somewhat is if you have seen. So what are they doing? Are they using a different app? No, they're using the same app that we are using for our student dashboard, right? Just that it's in a different format or it's in a different part of our app. Right? And that is being restricted by role-based access control as per the role. So they are having a different kind of role. You are having a different kind of role. You are having a student role, they can be having an instructor role or something. So that is different. That is separated. You cannot access like if you get the hand of if you could manage the API, still you won't be able to go and access that access their pages or whatever. Now, how is that possible? Because of the rules. So before we had the admin, after we are done creating the database, we will be declaring the rules for our app. Whatever rules that we want to have. Can have one, two, three, multiple, but we should have a rule. Have the rule. Then we create the admin from here and till that portion, at least the flavor of portions or basic idea, it will be done with this way. Right? And as of to discuss, next day, the thing left for me is the security implementation. And for that, I'll be using class security. Next thing would be securing the APIs, right? And finally, there is don't think so. So, at least for the ground part, we have mostly yes. Yeah, something more. Yeah, there are some other libraries that I will be showcasing with that. You can say that almost 50% or 60% of the I'm saying 60, but it's 50% done. With flash security implementation, I would say 65%, 70% will be done, and the 30% will be showcased with the APIs, which kind of APIs that I will showing. Like those will be again the CRUD office stuff. I'll be showcasing now for intuitive APIs or interactive APIs. So with this, I'm saying we're concluding that our day. Like if you have any doubt, anything, ask else. Process committing the changes so that it will execute your points.
Would it be possible to share this GitHub link in like our chat?
And the Google chat, yeah, of course.
Yeah. And also, do you recommend like for the next session, because you mentioned that in the first session, right? Maybe it would help to have to come prepared with like the first 8 weeks of content. I know it's been a while since I
No,
took
no,
my
no, no, no.
projects for me.
No, sir. No. For, at least for the boot camp, you do not need them. But just
Okay,
that whenever you are building your project, you will need the concepts. At least for seeing and understanding what am I saying, I don't expect you to come with anything. Other mentors may say that they might be more into coding and seeing showcasing the technologically other better stuff. But I like to do it and keep it simple. That whatever that I am doing, I will just explain. So if you do not come with the concepts, then also it's fine. No worries
got
with
it.
that.
But I think what you're saying is it might help if like if I have time, if it
Yes,
makes sense
yes.
to revise.
At
Okay,
least for the backend, it won't help much. But at least whenever you are starting off with Vue.js, you may feel that you are left out. So yeah, at least
okay,
for that also.
okay. Thanks.
So let me just one. Let's check. I already have shared the YouTube playlist, and there's the top. So you'll be using Vue for Vue 3. There isn't a big or huge difference, but I would stick to Vue 3. Vue 3 and in a CDN format. Oh, I did it. Do check. I have shared the code. But sir, if I use Vue 2, then it's okay. Yes, it is okay. Or I have to manually do Vue 3. No, it's totally up to you. You just need to have Vue.js. Nothing else. It's for anything more is on your business. Nothing will be uh, asked or anything. Anything more? How was the session? Any feedback that I can take? Was my voice audible at all times? Also check the GitHub link that I have shared in the space. Confirm if it is visible.
Thanks for the session. Do you have do you know when the next session would be? Would it be in the next 2 days or in the coming week?